Working in a local ginnery has been one of the worst moments in my career. I have been working in this organization for 6 months only, but I have had bad experience. Apparently, will not continue working in the same position. In particular, our general manager, the human resource manager and my workmates have made my life very difficult. In addition, I have tried to interact with various customers, but most of our communication is restricted, making it difficult to establish effective employee-customer relationships. When I joined this company 6 months ago, I had high expectations. I had just completed my undergraduate degree program in human resource management. In addition, I had taken a course in accounting in order to improve my career and increase the probability of getting a good job. Therefore, I thought that the organization would provide me with the chance to exploit my abilities and skills. I started working for the company after an interview that took about 1 hour. After the interview, I was among the 12 individuals hired to work in different departments and capacities. I was given the responsibility of handling human resource. I was made the company's assistant human resource manager. In addition, I was given the responsibility of handling employee data, including their salaries and wages. I thought that these responsibilities would give me the opportunity to improve the image of the company and employee welfare. I did not know that these responsibilities were exposing me to frequent conflicts with other individuals in the company. The problem started when I initiated a thorough and strict procedure for employees' attendance and work schedule. I realized that some employees were taking several days outside the place of work during the week, yet they expected to be compensated. They had a tendency of skipping work. They were assigning duties to their colleagues without notifying the human resource manager. I noted that some employees, especially those holding offices, were reporting to work in the morning but leave after a few hours, leaving a lot of unfinished work. I further noted that these individuals were assigning their duties to their juniors, especially those who were working as student interns. This is unacceptable because the juniors do not have the required skills to perform certain duties. Therefore, I issued a memo requiring all the employees to present themselves in a meeting. I also notified the human resource manager and sought for his advice. He agreed to hold a meeting with the employees. When my turn to speak came, I raised the issue of skipping work and poor attendance. I cited several cases involving employees leaving their duties inappropriately. I notified them that anybody caught violating the company rules would face strict consequences. However, the mood in the room changed. I had not realized that the problem was a common routine in the company. I had not noted that even the human resource manager was aware. In fact, he had been part of the problem. I had not realized that the company manager, an aged woman who had been suffering from cancer, had directed her grandson to run the company. However, the son was not interested in the business, despite the fact that it was worth millions of dollars. He would spend much of his time with friends, especially in pubs, hotels and other social areas. He was about 26 years but very irresponsible. This gave the employees a chance to carry out other activities because there was no supervision. A few days after the meeting, I realized that most of the employees were not willing to cooperate with me. In fact, most of them were afraid of my presence. They would even refuse to exchange greeting with me. Although the old behavior declined, the employee morale was reducing because I was being accused of high-handedness. Nevertheless, the company performance started improving. One day, I realized that my office had been ransacked and some important documents stolen. I reported the matter to the human resource manager and the general manager. Investigations were done and the police were involved. However, I was taken by the police for questioning. Some employees argued that I had played a trick in order to get my boss sacked. They argued that I wanted his position. The human resource manager seemed to believe in those lies. Although I was not arrested, nobody has been accused of the crime. I realized that the act had been done in order to make false accusations against me. The aim was to force me out of the company. I reported this issue to the general manager. He warned the human resource manager to stop interfering with my work. Since then, the human resource manager has not been talking to me. We communicate officially and in rare occasions. In addition, he has incited employees to avoid communicating with me. Most employees have also been leaving the company because they have realized that there is a conflict in the management level. Therefore, I have decided to quit because my presence is not helping the company. Study Corgi can help you make your studies smarter. Visit studycorgi.com for more samples like this, study tips, and writing tools.